Well, good morning, man. How we doing? Come on in. We've got big bar 25 here about to close up. ATR sitting at 48.49. Not too bad, big dogs. Come on in. We've got work to do. NQ, by the way, up through 30K here this morning. We actually saw a little bit of hesitation around that area. I watched it break. We went sideways for maybe 15 minutes, attempted to push through, then went sideways for a whole lot longer. And now we're dealing with that high of day, the wick high of bar 17. So, my question here for the day becomes, do we fade back down to 30K, or are we able to come up with the strength, not so sure, to get up through 30K and run away up through into the 30,100 region, maybe the 32s? Maybe higher? But so far the range on the day, we're looking at maybe 280 points. So it's not too bad, but the ATR is hanging around 50. Let's hope we can hang out around 50 and stay put up there. A lot of it's going to hinge, I'll tell you what, on this high of day, that wick high of bar 17. That one's a big deal. So we got 3 minutes, 18 seconds out. Let's see what we get here, and I am looking for trades. How we doing? So low of day, by the way, got set right on the wick low of big bar number 1. Range on that bar was pretty big. Over 150 points on that range into the 160s. And I gotta tell you, even from bar 10 through bar 19, this big kind of single bar sideways range, I'm not too upset about that, because the ATR, you look at that red line bottom of your screen, it didn't even dump off that much. We actually maintained a reasonable volatility, a reasonable ATR, even through the single bar sideways range. Now, we've seen this in the recent past where you get good volatility, but the price action is really wicky. The bars are big, but it's basically a sideways range, which, as we know, is the hardest place in the market to find any kind of consistent edge. We seem to be moving away from that now after, 21, 22, 23, 24, now bar 25. Still having trouble with this wick high, bar 17. 2 minutes out, let's see what we get. Canada, Trevor, Roy, Ro, how we doing? Come on. We've got work to do. Let's get to it. $90 seconds, baby. Gamma, how are we? So, we're about a minute out here. If we can get a nice clean close out of 25, it's tough, because that's the first bar to close outside of this big, huge sideways range, so it better close well through there for me to be intrigued at all. If it closes barely above the wick high of 17, you think I can get long on that? Not a chance. Not a chance, because chances are, probability says it's fading right back into the sideways range. If it closes just barely above the wick high of 17 here on bar 25. 35 seconds out, let's see what we get. Alan, Gary, Tina, what's up, guys? How are we? All right, small bear body close out of 25. Now, of course, the look here that I'm considering, probably split the difference between this region and this region, right? The look here that I'm kind of looking at is this. Don't overthink it. The more you overthink drawing these ranges, the worse of a range it's going to be. You just got to take the average of like 100,000 traders and algorithms. But 26 now trying to fade, taking out the wick low of 25, which tells me that the bears are seeing this as a big sideways range. The bulls obviously trying to step in and wick that guy back up, but there's not really much strength there. So I guess let's see how 26 closes up. I'd be open to shorting 26. It's just the issue is I can't have it grow too much because I need room. I need room. The range here, we're looking at about 100 points-ish as far as the width of the sideways range here. So I can take continuation trades with that width. It's just, the problem is there's not much room. So my setup bars have to be small. Small. Keep that reward to risk in check. All right, so we had about a 50-point wide trading range here. It's now widened out. We didn't quite get down to this region. That's okay. Split the difference. Now we've got basically 100-point. Yeah, it's about 100 points of the most reasonable look of a trading range. So keep an eye out, man. Again, I'm willing to short 26. I don't love it, to be honest. It's not the highest grade setup of all time. But if I got a nice clean close out of 26, I would short it. Just can't have it grow too much back toward the middle of the range. So, as more people come on in here, I gotta tell you, I'm very curious. In the chat, let's run a chat-based poll. Just respond in chat. Do you guys think we're running away from 30K, or do you think we're heading right back to 30,000 here on NQ? We're currently at about 30,060. I get it, you know, with an ATR of 48, it's really not that far away to begin with, but I guess my question isn't do we retest it? My question is, do you guys think we're headed up into the 30,000 hundreds, 30,200s, maybe further? Or do you think we're going to suck back to 30K and kind of hang out there and call it a day and close right around 30,000? Or lower, I suppose, would be included. 30,120, slowly but surely higher, I assume. Mario means. All right, we got 26 closing up. Inside close. Not happy about that. Meaning 26 is going to close, the green body is going to close inside the previous bear body, right? Inside closes, a lot of times they're going to, especially on a 5-minute chart where the sample size is good enough that, you know, if you have any kind of drift in the market, reasonable drift on that bar over the course of 5 minutes, especially when the previous bar is 25, not a large bar, you know, that's going to show a pretty good amount of indecision, I'll say, in the market. Like if you have bar 24 and you get an inside close, it's a little bit more forgivable because it's such a big body. There's a lot of room to close inside. But if you have a bar like 11, you know, and then you have an inside close on 12, even with these wicks, there's so much indecision going on that you're basically looking at a range almost certainly every time. All right, we got 3 minutes here until 27 closes up. And baby, take us away from here. I'm trying to put a whole bunch of trades on. My goal for the day is what, about 45 scalps? That's the goal. Let's see if we can put something together here. Bar 27, we'll see if we can close well outside. Again, this would be early. The sequence here would be 26, 27. It would be quite early depending on where it closes. And I would need it to kind of thread the needle between not being an outsized bar here on 27 and not closing, you know, too close where it's still basically a trading range. There you go. There you go, 27. Keep it pushing! Okay, range on this bar so far, we're in the 30s. You know, ATR 46, 47, that's the average range here in points of a 5-minute bar based on the last 10 5-minute bars. That's a healthy ATR. You know, it's all right. I'll take 46 for sure. I would rather it's 66 or 76. But hey, you know, when we've seen 16, 11 for an ATR this time of day, I'll take 46. I don't want to complain too much. All right, 60 seconds out here from the close, a big bar 27. $15 seconds out. All right, there's a close of 27, inside close. That's actually good because now I got 28 as a potential setup here. I like that. Cheryl, how we doing? Big E! Is that a real room backdrop or AI? It's real, homeboy! This is the same one that I had in the last angle from, I guess, last week. This is just a different angle of it. Brandon, what's up, big dog? Javaz, how we doing? All right, bar 28, 325 out. Let's see. All right, halfway through bar 28, if we can get a nice clean bull close. I love it, baby. I'm getting along with a stop limit buy. I've got a big old present wrapped with a big old bow and a smooch for these bulls. If they can give me a nice clean close. Damn bulls, get up above the wick high of 27. Ideally a bit further than above the wick high of 27. And that would be tremendous. Minute 35 out. Come on, bulls. 42 seconds. I need 28 up. Up through 30,080. Up through 30,085 would be best. That'd be about the right size for a nice clean bull close. We got 27 seconds. All right, come on now. Come on now, last second pop. All right. Bar 29 is the one, man. I can feel it. You know it's the one. There we go, bulls. Take us higher. Give me a clean close. ATR, by the way, off an absolute fucking cliff. ATR down to 40. We were just at 50. All right, so this is actually quite an important bar because you know we're dealing with this, right? Remember we drew this however many bars ago? We're trying to break out. There's a lot of hesitation. Inside close on bar 27, inside the wick high at 25. Inside close on 28, inside the wick high at 27. Now big bar 29. I need a bull push higher. We got 248. 2 minutes, 45 seconds that is, to push this baby higher. Oh, you balls! You bunch of babies! These bears have their hearts set on 30K. Man, who cares about 30K? We've seen it enough today. Let's get up and away. Or we can tank this baby down, head all the way down to 29,000 today. Catch what? Then we'll catch those 2,000 scalps on the way down. That's the goal for today. Okay, 50 seconds out. Gotta watch how 29 closes here. Now we have some problems because you have this, as I've drawn 3 times now. You have, well, you could draw it like this, you could draw it like this. That's not there yet though. That is very early. Any argument for a softball channel is a bit early. Right now, if you're like forcing me to draw something, I would draw this, which has not really successfully broken out yet. Inside close, well, I mean really inside. Probably another inside here, of course. 6 seconds out. So there's the close up of 29, open to bar 30. That's a lot of hesitation there out of those bulls, giving way to the bears, heading back down 50 points away from 30K. So, you know, here's the thing. It's a little early for me to short this. And it's also a little bit early for me to get long. Because no matter how you look at it, there is no short sequence here, obviously, yet. And as far as getting long, you know, we're still basically in the upper third of the sideways trading range, which if I am going to trade a trading range, I'm looking to get long in the lower third as long as I can make sense of managing my risk in a way that is logical. And neither of which are true right now, so I guess bar 30, I need to get something done here. We're 3 minutes out. There you go, Bulls. All right, Bulls gunning for a new high a day. High a day, of course, is currently the wick high of bar 29. Yeah, that's right. Breakouts are really, really weak today. The range on the day is pretty fucking good, I gotta be honest, but the ATR is holding up 42 now. We were just at 50, so it's falling. What I don't want to see is that ATR continue to fall down into the 40s, into the 30s, and then into the 20s. So the bulls either need to work up some courage and just start taking out fucking high of days and heading up into 30,100, heading up toward 30,200, or just give way and let the bears take control. We'll get back down through 30K and let the bears take a shot at 30K, because the bulls, I get it, you know, we're 65 points above it, but with an ATR of 42, just 50, not that many bars ago, that's not that, that's not that great of a break above 30,000. Clearly 30,000 as a level is in play, which I fucking hate. I hate these S tier levels that just stay in play all day, because it basically just creates a big sideways trading range. All right, so ATR is dipping into the 30s. We're at 39 now, in the high 39s. Bar 31 here. We still got 4 minutes on this guy, basically forming a single bar sideways trading range, which is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. You can see bottom of your screen there, those orange vertical bars right in this little guy here. See how the range on these bars, ever since bar 25, is just off a cliff. Not even just compared to 24, compared to all these. Look at all the ranges on these bars, it's off a cliff. I would say a bit more so than is typical for this time of day. Obviously, you expect volatility to fall into the midday, session, but this is a little more abrupt than I'd say is typical. Usually, it's a bit more of a gradual decrease. So if we have any prayer of ATR maintaining the 30s, but getting back into the 40s, maybe in the 50s, we're just going to have to get away from this sideways range that we're, forming currently. I guess you could say from 29 to 31, really from 25 to 31. I don't care which direction. The quickest direction would be downside. Stairs up, elevator down kind of mentality. That would be the most helpful for us right now. It would give us volatility and cleaner price action back, which are two things we desperately need all the time, or as often as possible. I would think a grind higher today, at least for a little while, would be a slow grind higher. And I don't dislike slow grinds higher because you can just trade it like a trend and do pretty well. But if I'm given the option, I would prefer a more volatile, like off a cliff bear trend with an ATR of 82, But I'll take what we can get, whichever direction. I do not care. Just let's take a break, or make a break, I should say, and go. In the meantime here, I'm looking at trading this range. Chat, been checking out Asia session from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. this last week. Non-stop winners with RAM, pretty wild. Yeah, the one thing about Asia session that you gotta be aware of is that Asia session NQ versus New York NQ on the averages. Now, this is not a rule, but it's a trend. Asia session tends to trade a little bit more like commodities do, as opposed, and I mean on NQ, as opposed to how NQ oftentimes today, for example, not. But during New York, and what I mean by that is Asia tends to range longer than you typically would during New York, and it also tends to trend a bit longer than you typically would during New York. And that's true of commodities during New York compared to NQ during New York. Does that make sense? I know I just said a lot. Some of you were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, go back and watch it again. That's true. Very much so on the averages. So where you start getting in trouble in Asia session is if it's in a trading range. And the same way you get in trouble doing this during New York, but it's especially true in Asia, if you start betting on breakouts over and over and over and over again on something like NQ or ES, but you're in a trading range, it might range for the next 6 hours, dude. And then 3.5 hours later, you look back, you're like, holy shit. My win rate was 4% and I took 150 trades and my account is fucking gone. So, gotta take it easy. But yeah, you can do really, really well, especially in a trend overnight. It's over. All right, we've got a big sideways range, and I'm pissed. I hate sideways ranges. So we'll see what bar 32 can do. We've got 2.5 minutes out, halfway through this bar here. Whole bunch of accounts getting blown up from bar 25 to 32, by the way. Ain't gonna be me. Don't let it be you. So we're basically forming another sideways range here. I'm being generous with the lines too. This thing is what? Less than 40 points in width. That's a quick way to kill off any volatility. ATR sitting 38, actually maintaining better than you'd think here through this. If this holds up much longer, that ATR, you mark my words, is going to be below 35, if not into the 20s. We don't want that. We do not want that, so we got to get away from this. Bar 32, 60 seconds out. All right, NQ testing the high of day here. Big bar 29, the wick high of 29 is currently the high of day. There you go, new high of day out of NQ. Bar 32, hesitating immediately. Slow break. Now, a lot of people, you know, I see this all the time. People are like, sick, man, I stop hunted the wick high of 29. That's not really a stop hunt in the traditional sense. This is just a range attempting to break. A stop hunt, as you guys know, would be a big, heavy rammed continuation trade closing like here. And I stop hunt the shit out of the wick low of 1 and take out all those bulls who put their stop below 1 and steal their liquidity. Dumps through about 15 points, take profit. That's a stop hunt. That right there, that's not really a stop hunt. It's got to be more aggressive than that. I wouldn't even take a stop hunt if the high of day or the low of day is a little range. Okay, now if you have like a big bear trend, for example, and you form a little range and I'm still looking at it as a trend and the range is short-lived and I'm looking to get for any reason to get short, well, you know, then taking out a new low a day can add a little liquidity, but I'm not going to describe it as a stop hunt because that's not really what it is. Now, I say that, I make that clarification to hopefully prevent you from getting antsy every time you see a high or low of day test. They're not all stop hunts. All right, 4 minutes out here, bar 33. C32 closing inside. Takes out the high of day, makes a new high of day here on 32, immediately wicks back, closes inside. That's really normal here in a sideways range like this. Bar 33 now, trying to take us higher. We'll see if it can. Should I do it? I'm gonna pull it out. One of you, you know who you are. Make a phone call. I'm gonna be back. This thing's gonna be 60 points in either direction. 2 minutes, don't you go anywhere. Well, well, well. Are you guys fucking kidding me? Not one person could pick up their phone, dial it, and say 8 words. Thanks a lot, guys. We're still stuck in the sideways range. Appreciate that. 30,075. Big bar 34. 3 minutes, 20 seconds out. ATR still off a cliff. ATR 35. I tell you what, this is not going to range until the close. I promise you that. So we're picking a direction and making a bit of a move. The question is, which direction is it going to be? Now, upside would sustain a bit of a full day soft bull channel look. That's pretty wide, though, as far as the soft bull channel is concerned. I tell you, my preference here would just be let's tank this son of a bitch. Head downside, take out the wick low at 22. Oh, man. Oh, man. So, by the way, SpaceX is getting added to the Nasdaq 100, huh? It feels like we're now at the point. You know, obviously, you got that lockup. But the thing with SpaceX is, after that initial, obviously the IPO hype died off after, I'd say, about 4 or 5 trading days. That's when, across all my scans, it wasn't even hitting the most active equities list in the top 15 after like a week. So I feel like SpaceX, you know, you still got that lockup, but I feel like SpaceX is kind of now at the point where it can trade a little more normally, and that hype is kind of dead. Now, I'll tell you what, people that bought a few shares thinking, oh man, this is my ticket. Come on, dude. Market cap. Look at market cap. If you think a stock is going to 20x when it's worth $2 trillion, you don't understand how stocks move at all. You want SpaceX, that's worth $2 trillion off the rip to 10x in price. You're asking for that thing to be worth $20 trillion. You understand that? SpaceX is a great place, in my opinion, the way that I look at it. I would say if you're somebody who runs a fund that's going to outlive you, and you're like, I'm looking for a good investment for my grandkids, then yeah, SpaceX makes sense. Space takes a really long time to conquer. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other things that go into the price of that stock. We're not just looking at reusable rockets, right? But the thing is, it's like, these aren't things that you know, triple price in 3 weeks. Especially not with that market cap. All right, bar 35, 4.5 minutes out. ATR is 34. We're in a single bar sideways range. Absolutely brutal. If you're taking trades in here, you're a degenerate. I love it. I love it. Maybe I should start taking some trades, huh? I'm jealous of you guys who are just smacking this thing back and forth, losing your accounts. I bet you're having a great time. Here I am standing here doing nothing. All right, we have our 35, 3 minutes, 20 seconds out. ATR 35 coming in for a test of that low of the range. Obviously, you got the 20 EMA there. We'll see if we want to test that. That's sitting at 41, about 8 points out. There you go. You got a test of that 20 EMA and the low end of this sideways trading range. Now, bulls. Crack that wick low at 26. I want to see a 200-point dump off. And let's head all the way down to 29,000. We've got a goal today. 45 scalps. So we got to get it moving here. Chat, had the bell on. YouTube didn't notify me that you went live. That's not how YouTube works these days, big dog. If you want to see when I go live, you got to hit the like button. If you click and watch for a few minutes and then leave, and by the way, this is probably how it should be, YouTube thinks, you didn't really do anything there. You probably didn't like it very much. And then it's not going to show you. Subscribers, bell notifications, man, none of it matters. All right, we got the wick low at 26. Bear's still trying to get us beneath there. Again, this is the lower third here of the single bar sideways range that started on bar 25. All right, we got 17 seconds. Come on, Bears. I want to see the 35 roll over into 36. This is our opportunity. The Bears can tank this off. That's going to be an inside close. You see that hesitation? Oh, you Bears, you bunch of fucking babies. Roll over, down through. Give me a nice clean close out of 36. I'll short that guy. We got 450 out. Anything at all to get away from this. This is an absolute disaster. ATR sitting at 34. We cannot have that dipping into the 20s. There you go, Bears. Get us down through. Now, after we do that, what do we have next to deal with? That's clearly a thing today. 30,000. Now, we've already seen 30,000 a whole bunch of times today. That doesn't mean that we're not going to hesitate even a little bit more. Coming back in for another test. It's been, what, about an hour since we've seen 30K? Beautiful. 36 looks pretty good here so far. See what we can get out of the close here. 3 minutes. Oh, beautiful. You know, I'll tell you what, this is actually a tremendous teaching moment. You see this big, giant sideways range here? That's called a single bar sideways trading range. It's, again, the hardest place in the market, the hardest environment to find any kind of repeatable edge. Now, we get 33, 34, 35, 36. 36 off a cliff, at least with an ATR of 35. And you might say, yeah, but Nico, it's heading right back into 30,000. 30,000, while it's an S-tier level, yes, we've seen it a lot of times today. 36 would be the first bar closing outside, because 35 closed inside the wick low of 26. The trading range, closing outside the trading range. If 36 can close ideally well beneath the wick low of 36, I would still look for it in this scenario with 35 and 36 for a RAM continuation trade down to, if not through, 30K. I don't care. 30,000 is kind of the last thing on my mind in a situation like this. Now, if we were setting up at 30,002 points, I'd probably hold off for the next bar, but there's enough room here. It's kind of threading the needle. Okay, but I need to see a nice clean close here out of 36. So you're going to see a situation like this a lot. That's what I'm thinking about. All right, stop limit sell goes out. That's a bit of a wick. I'm still going to place it there. Let's get rid of these guys in the meantime. And see if these bears want to give me a fill. I'm going to give that about, I'll give it, you know what, 25 seconds. I'll be generous here. Come on. Ah, no fill, no trade. I gotta pull it. I gotta pull it. The Bears don't want it. I don't want them. All right, watching 37. Bull's trying to take us right back up into the sideways range. You see that? You see that? So if on 37 here, the bears had taken out the wick low of 36 within like 3 seconds, then I would have gotten a fill. That's a different story, by the way. It's not the same trade anymore as if it takes, 45 seconds for the bears to take out the wick low. It just shows less certainty out of the bears that we're just heading down right now for a test back of 30K. And by the way, even if it fills me within 3 seconds, the word certainty doesn't exist in trading. If it did, it would only exist for about half a day until the institutions realize it and then price it out, right? This is all a game of probabilities. Okay, 2.5 minutes, see what 37 brings. All right, minute 12 out till the close up of 37. And you see these bulls stepping in, wicking us back inside 36. Come on, bears, let's clean this guy up. Now again, this right here is the biggest headache right now. We've got a big single bar sideways range. Bears are trying to break us out right now, having a lot of trouble, knowing that 30,000 is right ahead. All right, 30 seconds out. Come on, you bears, you sons of guns, get lower! Oh, big doji close, ugliest close I've seen all day on 37, bar 38 opening up. Let's watch 38. Now, if we get a nice clean bear close out of 38, it would depend where it is. The closer it gets to 30K exactly, the less likely I am to throw it on. But since these bars are getting smaller and smaller, which means the risk is getting tighter, I'm not totally against it. Again, gonna depend where this guy closes up, if below the wick low of 37 at all. Brando, big dog, how we doing? There you go, bears. There you go. All right, these bears hesitating a lot coming into 30K, 30 points out. HR down to 33. Remember what we talked about? Worst case scenario, this guy, volatility keeps falling off. This ATR dips into the mid, maybe even low 20s. We don't want that. All right, 2 minutes out. About 15 points out here from the test of 30K. Okay, so we've got 40 seconds out here. The wick low of bar 38 is right around 30,002. That's a little too tight to 30K for me to use a stop limit sell, but what I would do if we can get just a thread the needle closer out of 38 in the next 25 seconds is actually short it with a limit order if I can get a fill. But it's got to thread the needle. I'm not just going to hit it if it closes, inside the wick low of 37. Oh, you bears, you bunch of fucking babies. See this? 38 closes inside the wick low of 37. See that? That's no coincidence. Closes inside by like a tick. That's a lot of hesitation right ahead of 30K. ATR now sitting 32. How's the wife? Oh, she's around. She's around. She's doing fucking tremendous as always. She's been in chat, I think, like just a few days ago. I think 4th of July. I don't remember. By the way, if you didn't trade 4th of July, you're tripping. It's free money every 4th of July. As discussed on the 4th, well, I guess on the observed holiday, the 3rd. I'm not sure how institutions have not figured this out, but it's actually impossible to lose money on the observed 4th of July day in the market. So if you didn't trade the 4th, you missed out. Could have had a new house, at least a new car, man. All right, 220 out here from the close, a big bar 39. Question, what do you think of the 250K legacy sale at Apex? I think you should fucking hit it with code BIG. That's what I think. Don't overthink the account sizes. If you want to scale, sure, you can scale vertically, go with a bigger account. But if you're like, man, I just don't know, I would encourage you just hit the 50s, get payouts, and then eventually if you really want to, you can scale to the 150s. I think the 150s are also a great spot. But, dude, I mean, it's really hard to beat the 50Ks. Because the 50Ks are easy to pass. They really are. And, you can make plenty of money on the 50Ks, especially if you're scaling horizontally with multiple firms. The only headache with going bigger than the 50s, especially like the 150s or bigger, is passing them is literally more difficult, of course, because the ratio of profit target to drawdown is bigger. So it can kind of be a bit of a headache. The 50s, though, once you get through, it's just, they're so easy to pass. And by the way, if you fail, 4 sets in a row, I fucking run it again. Who cares, dude? They're too inexpensive compared to the opportunity here. And by the way, we don't know how this opportunity as far as prop trading is going to evolve. So I'll tell you something. You're going to be really fucking pissed at yourself if you look back and things have changed. Or, I mean, I don't know, in whether it's 5, 10, 15, 50 years, I have no idea. Nobody does. And you're like, dude, I was tripping over a $20 or a $35 eval. Why? They're too inexpensive for the opportunity, I'll tell you what. But I would say the 50Ks are a great spot to sit, whether you're advanced, intermediate, or, brand new here. All right, here we go. We got a rollover, 39, another inside close, tiny little bare body. All right, big bar 40. Is this the one, man? I think it might be. Heading down for a test of 30K, 5 points out. Chat says not a fan of this price action, to be honest. Well, we got a bunch of single bar sideways ranges, so if you are a fan of this price action, you're either an incredible single bar trading range scalper, which is just about the hardest kind of scalper to be, or you're an absolute degenerate, in which case we love it. But yeah, I'll tell you what, this is definitely not my favorite price action either. Doesn't mean I'm not going to sit here and look for a setup, though. Bunch of setups. This is the problem. We had this same thing with 25K. S tier levels, 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 35,000. Those are S tier levels. This kind of shit tends to happen around them. And I think it was 25K. I think it was 25K. We were around 25K for fucking weeks. Weeks. Worse than this, by the way. So be grateful ATR is 32 and not, 13. All right, we got big bar 40 trying to fade back upside into the sideways range. Oh, man! These bears are killing me. All right, there's the close of big bar 40 heading into the open of 41. Let's see how 41 closes. We could actually be looking at something here. All right. Now that the bulls are trying to pull this away, you know what time it is? It's pull time. I'm curious to see how many of you have the guts to say no. Ready? We're 33 points away. Pull is out. Does NQ see 30K again today? I expect, well, I'm not going to tell you what I expect. I want to see how many people have the guts to say that we're pulling away here. You're taking a 20-point bet, 25-point bet. So far, we've got 16% saying no. I don't know, man. Those no's. You're 15 points out as we speak! Now, what's interesting here is in a poll like this, the reason I like running these is because it really shows, like, the bigger the sample size of voters gets, it really shows you like almost exactly what the probabilities are. Because Because obviously the probability that we touch 30K again today at least once is extraordinarily high. All right, here we go. Bears coming in for a test. 5 points out. Minute 27 left here on this bar. Last time we touched 30K, by the way, was on bar 23. Not yet. Boom, there it is. Did you see it? We flashed down into the 29Ks for a split second. There's going to be a little bit of hesitation here around 30,000. That is expected and normal. The question is to what degree. Because obviously you hit those limit buy orders right below 30K, which those orders, they've got some guts to place a limit buy right below a level like that. Coming in for a second test. That's also very normal. Now we got to see if the Bears can take. By the way, if the Bears can take us lower and we head out, take out the wick low at 22, it's over. I'm going to short it all the way to the low a day over the course of a whole bunch of trades. All right, there's a close up of 41, watching 42. Let's see if these bulls really, really feel like they need a retest or if we can get down and weigh. There you go. All right, 42. I like the way Big Bar 42 is looking so far. Bull's trying to wick us back upside again. Hey, when you're around an S-tier level like 30K, it's not at all unexpected. Which is why, for me to get short, I need the cleanest close you've ever seen. A little bit of wick's okay, but I want a clean fucking close. Come on, Bears. Now, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. That's not enough, obviously. Man, by the way, if you have not yet, the market's not giving me any here with all these teaser setups around 30K, so I need some motherfucking dopamine, big dog. Go ahead, hit the like button if you have not done so yet. Or dislike, big dog. Hits my brain just the same. If you gotta do it, do it. I promise I can handle it. But I appreciate you doing so. All right, 42. All right, 42, 52 seconds out. Oh, bar 42, you dog. All right. Ready? First bar down through 30K. At least first reasonable bar 10 seconds out. Don't wick us back now, bulls. If they want to take it out in about 15 seconds, that's fine with me. I'll be a part of it. Anything longer than 15 seconds, I can't justify it. Ooh. Oh, no fill, no trade! Gotta pull it. Gotta pull it. I don't care how excitable you are. You're gonna sit around and break rules and then say, I want to trade full time. Not gonna happen, big dog. All right, bar 43, let's watch. 4 minutes, 20 seconds out. Just a day of teasers, isn't it here? All right, we got 43 here popping back up. I imagine we're probably going to test 30K again. Now you can see why everyone else gets excited about 30,000. I hate S tier levels because they always do this. You always end up with way too much interest around the S tier level, which I got to tell you, it's like, who cares? We've seen it plenty of times today. But it's psychological, you know? Retail and institutions and algorithms bring us right back. Turns into kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Question, has there ever been a day that there was no setup at all to trade, even off screen? Yeah, no trade days, they don't happen like all the time. Now, on stream, of course, you guys have seen me have no trade streams. Even that is relatively uncommon. But no trade days in entirety, including any off-screen trading that I do, there's absolutely nothing, is even more rare. But it does happen. A lot of times when that's going to happen is on really low volatility days. And you know what? There are days that I will genuinely, you guys have seen it, I'll take 20, 30 plus trades in a day. A lot of those are going to be scalps. Okay, but there are also days where more rare than the high volume days where it's just nothing all day. And that's okay. I think a lot of people come into this day trading as a profession and they think that, okay, I'm going to take 4 trades a day. Every day I'll make X amount of dollars, and by the end of every single month I'll be, plus 50,000, 100,000 a month, give or take 5 grand. That's not how the market works, man. Some months you might take home half of your year. Okay, now obviously, ideally, the months are relatively consistent, but a lot of that has to do with the market environment you're in. If you're dealing with a highly volatile, very news-driven market, where the volatility, the average true range of a 5-minute bar, for example, is like 92 points for 3 months straight, you might make the majority of your year profit in that 3 months if the other 9 months has an ATR of like 6 points per 5-minute bar, right? I mean, look, you're trying to get away from a 9 to 5, right? You don't like your current situation. That's why you're here, correct? For whatever reason. Part of the trade-off, dude. You're not getting the same paycheck hitting every 2 weeks. It's going to vary wildly, and a lot of that has to do not necessarily with your performance. It does a little bit, of course, but your performance, which is a little bit subject to the market environment. That's very, very normal. All right, we got big bar 44. Big Chris, how we doing? My man. Bull's pulling this guy back up. We'll see if this turns into a soft bear channel, pushing us down through 30K, or if we end up hanging out back up in that, sideways range. All right, man. Well, we're banging around 30K. What's up with you guys here today? Fucking chilling, killing. Hope you guys are doing well. Aside from the market, man. Forget about the market. You'll get what's yours. Just do your job. All right. Chat, what's hard for me is watching a green trade turn red because I'm following my rules and I'm not supposed to take the profit yet. Yeah, you know what? Welcome to the club. This is hard for everybody. I'll tell you what, you know what's harder? Is watching your entire fucking career turn red because you can't help yourself but take every profit early. The problem is your edge baked into it, which is what's going to keep you fucking paid, has to do with squeezing out whatever you can when shit is in your favor, which means on green trades, right? And this is what people don't understand. The edge, the expected value, is dynamic. It shifts even when you're in a trade. Okay, so you take a trade, we don't know exactly what it is percentage-wise, but it's something, okay, better than break even. And you know that based on years of data at some point, at least months of data at some point. So the issue is no one cuts their losers early, typically, when you're actually in the red. Very few people do that when they have a predetermined stop. The problem is when a trade is working and it's going in your favor, those are the ones you have to squeeze everything out of that you can. And when you start taking it early because you're like, green is green, you heard someone say green is green, always take green. That one phrase, I hate that phrase because it has killed so many careers because it's completely false. It's completely wrong. When the trade is working and in your favor, that's when you need to squeeze every dime out of it because the edge is dynamically shifting to be better than at entry. Okay, the edge of the overall trade. In that exact moment, it's shifting dynamically. When it's going against you, if you had to enter a new trade, think of it that way, the edge is slowly getting worse, and ideally, your loss cutting point, your stop loss, is the place where that expected value gets down through break even and into the negative, right? That's why you use a price action based, stop. So I don't know what to tell you. If you can't stop yourself from taking profits early because you hate seeing a single trade go from green to red, the only way I think you can think of it is you keep doing that, you're watching your entire career go down the tubes because you're giving away that edge that you have to squeeze out, guys. This is hard enough as it is. If you can just not take profit until you know you're supposed to. You guys see me all the time. I've had people literally say, "You greedy bitch, take it," in the chat. And I say, no, I think it's hilarious because I'm not going to do that. If my profit target is 47 points, because that's what an ATR is or whatever in that particular trade, and it's 46.5 points, I am not pulling it. Because I know that long term, I don't care about this one trade. You're thinking too short term. I know long term, I need to squeeze that out. So over the course of years doing this repeatedly, I'm able to continue doing this full time. If you're like, man, I have 32 points, my profit target's 54, it's kind of slowing down, I should probably just take it. Okay, I'll see you out of the industry in 6 months, because that's where you're headed. Fuck, getting me all fired up, man. So what's up? How we doing? This market's still 20 points away. Are you kidding me? From 30K? Ridiculous. Question, do you move stop up? Meaning, do you move your stop loss up? They say, because when I do, it hits too often. I only move my stop up if I get a supporting setup when I'm already in a trade. So if I'm sitting long, I have not hit my stop and I have not hit my take profit, and while I'm still in the trade, I get a supporting long setup, then you have options. You can either add and or though and starts getting a little weird because it brings your, it changes your average, and then you're actually risking. Anyway, I like to, especially with props, when I get a supporting setup, when I'm already sitting in that direction, but I have not hit profit or stop loss yet, then I move it up beneath the new price action stop point. So if I would get long, but I'm like, oh, I'm already in a long, what do I do? Especially trading prop, I like to move it up beneath the new signal bar, 1 point beneath the wick low of the new signal bar if it's a long trade, vice versa for a short trade. Arbitrarily moving your stop to break even is an absolute fool's errand. Everyone likes to do that because they think of it as a free trade. It was never a free trade. You put the risk on. You had to get into the money. And now when you're 6 points in the money and you move your stop to break even, your profit target's 50 points and your new risk is 6 points. You're like, ooh, good, I have a free trade. No, you don't, because you had to put the risk on initially, and now your reward to risk is like 9 to 1, 8.5 to 1, which you think, wow, that's really fucking good, right? No, because your probability is probably worse than it would even need to be to have any kind of positive expected value on that trade, because NQ tends to move around a lot, and when you're in the money 4, 5, 6, 10 points, it's a very high probability you're going to get stopped. And if you don't, I think that's about the worst that can happen on the first try, because you're like, oh, wow, I was 6 points in the money. I moved to break even, and then I had a 60-point winner. I don't know. Probability-wise, you're going to get stopped out most of the time. And the problem with that, and that's not just me saying that, that's the math. Okay, even if you think you had edge on the trade when you entered, you're moving it too tight. And the problem with prop firms doing that with prop accounts is you don't really have enough room as far as drawdown to take on long losing streaks that will produce, because the probability of it hitting take profit as opposed to stop is very low. Okay, so it's natural that you're going to have big losing streaks in doing so. Can you do that in a personal account? Yes. Big personal account, you have all the freedom in the world. Prop trading, I don't care how big of an account you have, you don't have that much room, even if you're scaling horizontally as opposed to vertically. Chat, I'm on a bad drought. They say no payout in over a month. You know what? I mean, look, especially with prop, I mean, sometimes, this goes back to what we just talked about. It's not always going to be every single week you take the exact amount in payouts. That's not how trading goes. Every single big trader you guys have ever heard talk is all going to have a very similar story. You have periods where you make a fucking shitload of money. And then you have periods where it's kind of slow. And that's okay. I mean, that's the game. That's what you signed up for, right? I mean, if you're looking for consistent checks, why are you trying to leave your 9 to 5, dude? Like, straight up, that's not a dig. I'm just asking a genuine question. You're looking for no ceiling, correct? Well, the trade-off is the consistency of your check is going to change a little bit. That's why you just stack as much as humanly possible while the sun's shining, and hope that the market environment stays good. And if it doesn't, you're fine. right, we got 90 seconds here. I'm right into 30K. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking at 46. I actually don't hate 46. Because you have so much room. Don't grow too much more than that now. All right, 40 seconds out. Let's see. Now, this to me looks like the very early stages of a bear, well, an expanding bear wedge, not a tightening bear wedge. And there is a bit of room down to the wick low 43. Let's see if it's worth a scalp here for me. You might say 30,000. I don't care about 30,000 anymore. We've tested it a million times just in the last 20 minutes. Give that 15 seconds. I only want to be a part of that if they want to take it within 15 seconds. 6 more seconds here. No fill, no trade. Gotta pull it. Gotta pull it. All right. Bar 47. What's up? Okay, now things start getting a little bit tight here on bar 47. Got that wick low 43. It's coming into the lower third of basically every look here. You want to look at it as a big single bar. I'm sorry, not single bar, a big sideways trading range in general. Basically this, you could look at it as this. Right, you could look at it as this. I think I'm more looking at it like this here. See that wedge that I was talking about? The reason I draw all that, you're like, whoa, what are you doing? Is to show you we're in the lower third no matter what. But that could change really quick if the bears are able to take us down for a test of that wick low at 22. ATR sitting 33, 34-ish. All right, would somebody make a phone call this time? 2 minutes! Don't you go anywhere. What's up? Welcome on back. Big Bar 48, 2 minutes. 6 seconds out. Jamie says, internet left me for a minute. Did anything happen? Oh, Jamie. We made 100,000. Biggest move of the year. Oh, man. All right, 90 seconds out. Big Bar 48. You know I'm all excited about Big Bar 48. Lower bears. Come on now. All right. Question, what do you think about bar 9 long? Bar 9 to the long side is reasonable. Would it have worked? Probably. Depends on your profit target. Probably would have worked. But yeah, bar, regardless of outcome, dude. You guys know me. I don't do the hindsight thing. Bar 9 was a reasonable long entry. Would have taken its time. All right. It's enough of that, man. We got shit to do. Place him, bears roll over, take it. 200 points off a cliff. Oh, baby. Oh, baby, we are filled to the short side. Now, I gotta tell you, I'm a little concerned here that this guy just turns into a big sideways trading range. I don't imagine this trade is going to be a quick one, but that's okay. Let this thing sit and see if the bears want to come up and retest. If they retest 30K, I'm cutting it. Let's take out that wick low at 22 and keep it pushing. Beauty. ATR 34. Yeah, see, after my rant, this is where I just pull it to make myself feel better, right? No, ATR is 34. For me, that's my absolute minimum here. Because, I mean, you got the range of 48 at risk. Which, by the way, if you're newer, negative reward to risk, positive reward to risk, none of it is better than the other necessarily, because there's another factor that the newer traders like to ignore called probability, which changes the bigger reward to risk ask you make. So that's why it's dynamic on any given trade. You guys will sometimes see me taking negative reward to risk trades. Other times I'm taking pretty big reward to risk trades. It just depends on the setup. There you go, bears. All right, take profit is here. Is what here? Maybe 4. What do you guys think? 400 or 500 points? I feel like that's pretty reasonable, right? ATR 35, baby. Lower, 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 bears. Step aside, bulls. It's over. I want to see tears, baby. That's it. Keep that guy pushing. We need a whole bunch more than that. Brando says, I was away from the stream for a minute. Where the fuck did you go, big dog? Now I'm pissed. And I saw the chart. I knew you took this. You son of a bitch. You're fucking right, I'm sitting short. Okay, we've got 22 seconds out until 49 closes. I gotta watch this. It's gonna be tight. May have to multitask here. If I have to move my stop, we'll see. If 49 rolls over and 50 takes out the wick low 49 relatively quickly, I'm gonna have to move my stop. So we got about 919.50. Not yet. Well, I don't get to move my stop. Alright, it's alright. ATR down to 33 here. Now on the ATR. Dump it, bears! About that time. Oh, you sons of guns, don't play with me. Don't you play with me, bears. We don't have time for this. Damn it, I want my money now, big dog. Down through, go! Oh, you fucking babies. You babies. These fucking bears. Let's go, baby. We've got work to do. ATR sitting 35. You gotta be kidding me. They're toying with me. They're toying with me. Got within what, about 2 ticks? God, don't you love it when this happens? All right, ATR is sitting 35. One more run, Bears. There you go. This is it. This is it. Well, been within about 2 ticks of take profit here. There you go. There's the rollover, 50 into 51. This is it, down through. ATR is actually down to 32. Looking for just a bit better since that was a pretty big drop. Boom, 33. That would be better than ATR, than a full ATR, actually. Let's see if these bears want to give me a fill. Beauty. Get flat. And we're flat. Good. All right, man. What's next? Let's see what we got on 51. Man, if you haven't yet, hit like on the stream. I appreciate you doing so. If you made money, if you took that short, big dog, the least you could do is go ahead, press the dislike button. All right, big bar 51, 317 out. What did I tell you guys? What did I say? Back on bar 30? I said, man, if we could just head lower and take out the wick low at 22, I'll short that bitch all the way down. Here we go. Big bar 51. Let's see if I can do it again. 3 minutes out. That's a pretty big bar, dude. I don't know. All right, so As you guys know, typically my by-the-book assessment of what is an outsized bar within RAM, the easy explanation is when a bar in terms of range is clearly more than double what the ATR is. That gets more nuanced. Okay, it's not, I wouldn't say this is outsized yet, we'll see. When volatility is low, that gets a bit more nuanced because when you have lower volatility bars and then a bigger bar, when you've been seeing ranges all day, in my experience, you don't tend to just see huge, immediate, sustained increases in volatility just because you got a bigger bar. So this is that part where it's a bit discretionary, you know, and if someone says, oh, no, you can just, if X happens, do Y. I mean, yeah, kinda, but there's also discretionary aspect to this that, you know, you do get better at with screen time. Because if it was just, if X happens, do Y, and that's all it was, I mean, RAM sort of is that. But if that's all RAM was, and there was no nuance, no discretionary decision-making at all, it would get priced out. Any edge you could find would get priced out immediately because the institutions would just be able to like look at this and say, we'll just program the best algorithm in the world to do just that. You can't do that. If you could, I already would have done it. You can't. There's too much discretionary decision-making to do. And for example, this is one of those times. Here we go, 30 seconds out. You see what I mean? You get kind of a bigger bar, bulls step in, wick it right back. This is one of those things that's kind of hard to explain until you just see it. All right, watching 52. Yeah, Trevor says you would just turn it into an algo if there was zero discretionary decision making. Yeah, 100%. 100%. The good news is you don't have to be me to make good discretionary decisions. We have a bunch of people who are already doing it. All it takes is understanding, if you're going to trade RAM, which if you don't want to, I really don't care. I'm just showing you what works for me. Okay, but we have a bunch of people already who have come in. They're like, I don't really get it. They study, they understand RAM, whether it's in the tomb or just here on the fucking free live stream, dude, whatever. The discretionary, the nuance, the discretionary understanding, it comes with time. And it's necessary, by the way. Eddie says, rap? What does that mean? You want me to fucking freestyle? All right, we got bar 52, 212 out. Oh, he's saying RAM. Yeah, it's RAM, big dog. RAM, the wrench action method. All right, big bar 52, minute 38 out. By the way, guys, hey, Take Profit Trader, 40% off, baby. No activation fee. Code BIG. BIG. That activation fee, that's $130 that you're not going to pay when you pass if you use code BIG at signup. All right, we got 35 seconds out here from the close up of bar 52. We'll see if that turns into an inside bar. Inside close, I'll say. Well, the big question is this a reversal here? So, obviously, you know, this hasn't really been a huge bear trend since bar 33, but we do know that big moves like this, these bigger moves like this, they don't tend to just V-shape recovery all the way back. They tend to sideways range at least first, if they're gonna do that. But you also gotta look at this and think, I mean, maybe, right? Big bear channel. Did you trade any of those bars? Yeah, I shorted, which one did I short? 48, right? Wait. Jesus, I got teased so many times I can't even remember. I think I shorted 48. Close of 48. Yeah, it was the close of 48. So you see what I mean here now? 53 hesitating to head higher. Most of the time what you're going to see is a sideways range if you're going to see a reversal at all first. before the V-shaped recovery, which is why, unless you really get a clear setup back upside, it's tough. It's tough for me to take big, one of the biggest, I think, improvements you can make to your trading is be a little bit less jumpy to take reversals. All right, we got 30 seconds out here from the close of 53. Yeah, it looks like we're forming that sideways range we talked about. Don't love it. Don't love it. A lot of this is going to hinge on 54. Just opening up here now, bar 54. A lot of hesitation here. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you joining me here today, man. Hit like on the stream on the way out, and I will see you in the next one, man. We finally caught a trade. Took just about all stream. Shorted the close of 48. I'll take it. We're off to lunch. I'll see you guys soon.